Today's reading is from Luke 24, 13 to 35. The walk to Emmaus. That same day, 2 of Jesus' followers were walking to the village of Emmaus, 7 miles from Jerusalem. As they walked along, they were talking about everything that had happened. As they talked, discussed things, Jesus himself suddenly came and began walking with them. But God kept them from recognizing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing so intently as you walk along?" They stopped short, sadness written across their faces. Then one of them, Cleopas, replied, "You must be the only person in Jerusalem who hasn't heard about all the things that have happened here the last few days." "What things?" Jesus asked. "The things that happened to Jesus, the man from Nazareth," they said. "He was a prophet who did powerful miracles, and he was a mighty teacher in the eyes of God and all the people. But our leading priests and other religious leaders handed him over to be condemned to death, and they crucified him. We had hoped he was the Messiah who had come to rescue Israel. This all happened 3 days ago." Then some women from our group of his followers were at his tomb early this morning, and they came back with an amazing report. They said his body was missing, and they had seen angels who told them Jesus is alive. Some of our men ran out to see, and sure enough, his body was gone, just as the women had said. Then Jesus said to them, "You foolish people, you find it so hard to believe all the prophets wrote in the scriptures. Wasn't it clearly predicted that the Messiah would have to suffer all these things before entering his glory?" Then Jesus took them through the writings of Moses and all the prophets, explaining from all the scriptures the things concerning himself. By this time they were nearing Emmaus and the end of their journey. Jesus acted as if he were going on, but they begged him, "Stay the night with us, since it is getting late." So he went home with them. As they sat down to eat, he took bread and blessed it. Then he broke it and gave it to them. Suddenly their eyes were opened and they recognized him, and at that moment he disappeared. They said to each other, "Didn't our hearts burn within us as he talked with us on the road and explained the scriptures to us?" And within the hour they were on their way back to Jerusalem. There they found the 11 disciples and the others who had gathered with them, who said, "The Lord has really risen. He appeared to Peter." Then the 2 from Emmaus told their story of how Jesus had appeared to them as they walked along the road, and how they had recognized him as he was breaking the bread. This is the word of the Lord.
The Lord's Supper, Holy Communion, and the Eucharist. Whether you join in the Lord's Supper or share the Holy Communion or receive the Eucharist, the 3 terms are to a large extent interchangeable, but essentially recall what Jesus said and did for us. The word Eucharist means literally thanksgiving. And today our talk is on the Eucharistic life we are called to lead if we believe and take Holy Communion. Today our talk is taken directly from the book With Burning Hearts, written by Henri Nouwen, for which I make no apology, for I cannot write the message better or the explanations more clearly. So I invite you to sit comfortably and to listen with open hearts and minds. The 2 travellers who started their journey with downcast faces Now look at each other with eyes full of new light. Everything has changed. The losses are no longer felt as debilitating. Home is no longer an empty place. The stranger, who had become a friend, has given them his spirit, the divine spirit of joy, peace, courage, hope, and love. There is no doubt in their minds, he is alive. Not alive as before, not as the fascinating preacher and healer from Nazareth, but alive as a new breath within them. Cleopas and his friend have become new people. A new heart and a new spirit have been given to them. They also have become new friends for each other. No longer people who can offer each other consolation and support as they mourn their losses, but people with a new mission who together have something to say, something important, something urgent, something that cannot remain hidden, something that must be proclaimed. Happily, they have each other. Nobody would believe them if it was just one of them, but when they speak together, they will get a fair hearing. What a difference between their going home and their return. It is the difference between doubt and faith, despair and hope, fear and love. It is the difference between two dispirited human beings dragging themselves along the road and two friends walking fast, running even at times, all excited about the news they have for their friends. Returning to the city is not without danger. After the execution of Jesus, his disciples are afraid. They wonder what their fate will be. But having recognized their Lord, their fear is gone. And they are free to become witnesses of the resurrection, the costs notwithstanding. They realize that the same people who hated Jesus may hate them, that the same people who killed Jesus may kill them. Their return may indeed cost them their lives. They may be asked to witness, not only with words, but with their own blood. But they no longer fear martyrdom. The risen Lord, present in their innermost being, has filled them with a love stronger than death. Nothing can hold them back from returning home, even when home no longer means a safe place. Communion is not the end. Mission is. Communion, that saved intimacy with God, is not the final moment of the Eucharistic life. We recognized him, but that recognition is not just for us to savor or to keep secret. What you have heard and seen is not just for yourself. It is for the brothers and sisters and for all who are ready to receive it. Go, don't linger, don't wait, don't hesitate, but move now. People need to know that there is nothing to be afraid of, that he is risen, risen indeed. But why should people trust us when we come running home, all excited? Why should they take us seriously? We are not that trustworthy. We are not that different from the rest of our family and friends. And moreover, the world is full of stories, full of rumors, full of preachers and evangelists. There is good reason for some skepticism. That is the reason why it is not just the Eucharist, but the Eucharistic life that makes the difference. The Eucharistic celebration has summarized for us what our life of faith is all about, and we have to go home to live it as long and as fully as we can. And this is very difficult, because everyone at home knows us very well. Our impatience, our jealousies, our resentments, and our many little games. And then there are our broken relationships, our unfulfilled promises, and our unkept commitments. Can we really say that we have met him on the road, have received his body and blood, and become living Christs? There are many ways in which Jesus appears, and many ways in which he lets us know that he is alive. What we celebrate in the Eucharist happens in many different ways. Jesus, who gave us bread already, touched the hearts of others long before he met us on the road. He called someone by her name, and she knew that it was him. He showed his wounds to some, and they knew that it was him. We have a mission to fulfill, and it is good that we are excited about it. But first we have to listen to what others have to say. Then our stories can be told and bring joy. All of this points to community. The two friends who were able to speak to each other about their burning hearts were beginning to enter into a new relationship with one another, a relationship built on the communion they had both experienced. Their communion with Jesus was indeed the beginning of community. They needed to meet the others who also believed that he is risen, who also saw him or heard that he is alive. They needed to listen to their stories, each one different from the others, and to discover the many ways in which Jesus and his Spirit works among his people. It is so easy to narrow Jesus down to our Jesus, to our experience of his love, to our way of knowing him. But Jesus left us to send his Spirit, and his Spirit blows where it wants. The community of faith is the place where many stories about the way of Jesus are being told. These stories can be very different from each other. They might even seem to conflict. But as we keep listening attentively, the Spirit manifesting itself through many people, in words as well as in silence, through confrontation as well as invitation, in gentleness as well as firmness, with tears as well as smiles, then we can gradually discern that we belong together as one body knitted together by the Spirit of Jesus. Forming a community with family and friends, building a body of love, shaping a new people of the resurrection, all of this is not just so that we can live a life protected from the dark forces that dominate our world. It is rather to enable us to proclaim together to all people, young and old, white and black, poor and rich, that death does not have the last word, that hope is real and God is alive. The Eucharist is always mission. The Eucharist that has freed us from our paralyzing sense of loss and revealed to us that the Spirit of Jesus lives within us, empowers us to go out into the world and to bring good news to the poor, sight to the blind, liberty to the captives, and to proclaim that God has shown again his favor to all people. The movement flowing from the Eucharist is the movement from communion to community to ministry. Our experience of communion should send us to our brothers and sisters to share with them our stories and build with them a body of love. Then, as community, we can move in all directions and reach out to all people. Jesus himself didn't preach and heal alone. He does not want us to go out alone. He sends us out together, 2 by 2, never by ourselves. And so we can witness as people who belong to a body of faith. We are sent out to teach, to heal, to inspire, and to offer hope to the world, not as the exercise of our own unique skill, but as the expression of our faith that all we have to give comes from him who brought us together. So to conclude, the word Eucharist means literally thanksgiving. A Eucharistic life is one lived in gratitude. The story, which is also our story, of the two friends walking to Emmaus has shown that gratitude is not an obvious attitude towards life. Gratitude needs to be discovered and to be lived with great inner attentiveness. Our losses, our experiences of rejection and abandonment, and our many moments of disillusionment keep pulling us into anger, bitterness, and resentment. Jesus gave us the Eucharist to enable us to choose gratitude. It is a choice we ourselves have to make. Nobody can make it for us. But the Eucharist prompts us to cry out to God for mercy, to listen to the words of Jesus, to invite him into our home, to enter into communion with him and proclaim good news to the Lord. The Eucharist, thanksgiving, comes from above. It is the gift that we cannot fabricate for ourselves. It is to be received. It is freely offered and asks to be freely received. Our lives become transformed, part of the mysterious work of God's salvation. Once that happens, nothing is accidental, casual, or futile anymore. Even the most insignificant event speaks the language of faith, hope, and above all, love. That's the Eucharistic life, the life in which everything becomes a way of saying thank you to him who joined us on the road.